Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining webinar today. This is Krishna Chekuri from Sailotech, and the topic of webinar today is iCapture, which is one of our flagship products that we have developed at Sailotech, along with other products. So I'm going to talk about iCapture and what it has to offer on the high level, and go into a little bit of what it actually does. It's does with digitization. So it has to be it has a tremendous impact on the digitization and helps companies to achieve their digitization goals. So that being said, um, just a kind of a very high level brief of where I'm coming from. Traditional manual processing of say physical copies of invoices or invoices received in an email, and someone is looking at the invoices and then takes that invoice, be it a physical copy or email attachment, and then uh, they look at the invoice, and then they punch in the numbers in some system, be it ERP or some other accounting system. Basically, account payable process. I mean, that is just one use case. There's so many other use cases, like getting the data from let's say receipts or non-PO, or some other documents, contracts, statements, so on and so forth. So the list is endless. The objective is digitization. So basically, how to get something that is on paper or on a PDF document or an image into a system, some system which can be that data can be used downstream, right? So that is the whole. So with physically entering manual data entry and all that, everyone knows that it's prone to human errors. Basically, how you look at the data there, and then entering fat fingering the data into the system, which is error, rework, last time, obviously the cost, and then the best utilization. It's not the efficient way we can use human resources, human capital, right? So, I mean, for just a couple of, what you call, surveys and that have been done before by very reputable organizations, like according to Accounts Payable Network, 80% of invoices arrive on paper and through email and keyed in manually in transition, in a further transaction system. And 52% of the departments say that top priority is migrating away from paper-based processes, and which we have definitely, sitting here today in 2022 September, and looking back the last couple of years, and everyone knows what happened with COVID-19, and how much it affected, because people were not able to come to the office, and remote working, and obviously there's a crunch in resources availability, so on and so forth. So I'm just giving the background of it. And according to Aberdeen Group, with the minimal of automation, it may take up to 16, more than 16 days to process single invoice. So, all this I'm giving a background because enabling the flexibility in processes, with how we're going to do the digitization in more efficient manner with automation is a key here. And with all the virtualization, with people, processes, and technology, it is more than essential. It is required for having those systems in place, or the platforms are accessible to companies to move forward. Okay, so what is iCapture? Basically, iCapture is basically the digitization platform, which is basically built to extract data from different type of documents, images, and then extract different file types, be it PNG or PDF or PDF or T for JPEG, as long as it's visible, decently visible, it can extract the data. And then basically not just extracting the data, it has a built-in algorithm that also validates, say, you have say the validation rules are there. It's like, just for an example, the line item subtotal is equal to total or not. The date field is in the format that is expected or not. Invoice number is in the format that we expect or not. So, I mean, these kind of validations are in place. And then the output once that data is extracted, it can go into bucket of completely extracted, partially extracted, or not extracted, based on the pass and fail of different rules that are in place. Right, the output would be in any CSV or XML format or a JSON, or it can directly go into ERP, be it Oracle or any other ERP, SAP. And of course, there's some kind of customization that has to be done in order to get to the ERP based on the requirements, client requirements. So this is kind of a very high level kind of workflow that iCapture has to offer. So moving ahead, so what are again what it is under the hood? It is all AML techniques where the documents are classified. That classification happens, and then there's a OCR enabled data traceability is in place, and then this multi-tenant processing is in place, where the training to the different models happen. And then manually, if there is not all documents are readable in the first go, there's some kind of a default or predefined that comes out of the box with iCapture. And then which kind of, say, we have come up with fields like, say, 25 to 30 fields that can be extracted. Say that, for example, invoice. If you take an invoice, traditional invoice, generic invoice, anyone can have. It would have invoice number or invoice date. Then you have address, the vendor information. Then you have the line items. Then the total, subtotal. Then you have depending on the country you're in, it would have the tax rate and or whatnot, right? The tax information, so on and so forth. So it has that auto capture technology that extracts or identifies these keys and these values from the image or from the PDF, and extracts and then something that not everything can be, there's a disclaimer here, we're not saying we're 100% accurate, right? So some of the invoices, some of the things cannot be straight away extracted. There, someone would go in there and to configure and then do the training. So basically, configuring is nothing but going to the form and cropping the field that we want to extract, capture, and then basically thereby training, retrain the model to identify this going forward, right, from the next round of extraction. So that's how the whole workflow works. Basically, again, machine learning is one of the techniques that is used under the hood. And you have like different algorithms, artificial intelligence, and so on, decision tree modeling, and all those are under the hood working in order to make this extraction seamless, accurate, and performance also. It has to do all the validations and performance, flexibility, all that has to be there in order to make it work, right? So Again, I know the core things that that we have here is, in order to make this happen, is basically, give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm just pausing it for a minute. I'm losing the. Sorry about that. So the one of the main things, main advantages of this is basically accelerate efficiencies. The paper-based documents, different formats and different languages can be processed in machine-readable text, right? And then you have the process automation, where there's a rule-based business operations. RPA can be fully automated upon effective OCR, and then it will basically boost the intelligence, right? And then combining the AML, AM and ML that I've mentioned earlier, and on top of it, you have this data traceability, right? So digitizing the documents save tons of time and enables the data is searchable, and then reduces the cost eventually, and then you can reutilize the FTEs into a more demanding or more other value add tasks rather than data entry, right? So these are some of the advantages or benefits that the digitization using iCapture has to offer, right? And then again, just the same thing. It is again, it can be on cloud or on prem. So it is a cloud ready, and based on the client requirement, we can offer it both ways, right? So there's some of the things is the integration, then the environment, and then we have the image enrichment as well, and then the document classification, then validation, then you have a multi-channel document fetch, be it emails or be it FTP, be it Dropbox, wherever the documents are, that can be fetched and then processed accordingly. And then the logging of the reports that has been captured, basically what all the invoices or what all documents have been extracted 100%, what has failed extraction. So all that information will be stored, and then that will be available for the management. Then adding to that, you have the notifications are in place, where the stakeholders are notified of the status of the extraction. Like say today, like 200 invoices have been extracted. Out of that, say 180 have been successfully passed, and that so on and so forth. So you got what I'm trying to say. So, and then the environment, again, the server availability in AWS. By leveraging its security backup facilities, and which is accessed using HTTPS, so that it is fully secure, and the data integrity and data security is not compromised, right? And then the image enrichment I was talking about is basically improving the image quality of the actual images or the PDF, whatever, whatnot, what have you received from the client, from the as an invoice, can be readable, basically in a readable way. All that noise will be reduced or eliminated. And then the document classification, based on the type of the document it is, it goes through the classification engine, where the incoming documents are classified using the deep learning techniques. Then again, validations I talked about. So this is kind of in a nutshell, what all it does. It configures, you classify, it extracts, it validates. Then you have the most important one of the features of it is to reconfigure. So basically, for the failed ones, you have the ability to reconfigure so that it is the invoices or any documents that are having the similar kind of keys and key value pairs can be identified and extracted subsequently going forward, right? So these are the kind of things that iCapture has to offer. Again, I'm just quickly going through. These are the kind of high-level screens that you would see for that. Again, it is very user-friendly, and again, non-technical person will be able to take this up with minimal support from Sailotech or from the iCapture core team. Only if whenever there's some requirement of changing to the ERP or kind of workflow change or something that there's a requirement to downstream system where we can put some RPA and some kind of additions to the downstream. That is where there's some added development would be required, right? Otherwise, it's everything straight out of the box. It would be like up and ready in a couple of days, where we do the calibration and setup. So again, the validations I talked about. Reconfigure, basically user can edit existing configuration of the document, delete, or so on and so forth. All that features are there. Deliver is nothing but where the extracted data would be delivered to. It can be delivered to a FTP folder or some shared drive, and that can be taken care of. So benefits, again, to recap: ease to use, reduce processing costs for both paper and electronic invoices, increase the full-time employee efficiency by having them work on other value-add activities, reducing the processing errors, and faster discrepancy resolution, which is basically fault finding and then eliminating that, and then minimizing the time taken to do the invoice processing, which was, as I mentioned earlier when we started, it's average of one single invoice takes about 16 days, which is a very long period, which can be reduced to even a couple of days, right? So that's kind of a very and the data availability, data accuracy, again, that's there's leaps and bounds right there, and which can be used by companies. Benefits can be used by the realized by the companies very quickly. So that's a very high level. I wanted to talk about iCapture today, the product that Sailotech is offering for any. If you're please interested, please get in touch with us, and we are happy to answer any questions and give in-depth a walkthrough or a demo, live demo as such. So thank you very much, and have a great day.